Level 1. The Mystery of JonBenét Ramsey. Chapter 1. The Perfect House in the Snow. This is a story about a very rich family. The family's name was Ramsey. They lived in a city called Boulder. It is in the state of Colorado in the United States. Boulder is a beautiful place. It has big mountains all around it. In the winter, the weather in Colorado is very cold. The sky is dark, and there is always a lot of white snow everywhere. The Ramsey family lived in a very, very big house in Boulder. The house was not a normal house. It was like a large castle. It had 4 floors. It had 15 large rooms. It had big windows, heavy wooden doors, and a beautiful garden. The house was very expensive. They had a lot of money. The father's name was John Ramsey. He was 53 years old. He was a very smart and successful businessman. He owned a big computer company. He worked very hard. His company made a lot of money for his family. He loved his big house and his family. The mother's name was Patsy Ramsey. She was 39 years old. Patsy was a very beautiful woman. When she was young, she was a beauty queen. She was Miss West Virginia. She loved beautiful clothes. She loved expensive jewelry. She loved giving big parties in her big house. They had 2 children. They had a boy and a girl. The boy was 9 years old. His name was Burke. He was a quiet boy. He liked playing with computers. He liked video games. He went to school and played with his friends. The girl was 6 years old. Her name was JonBenét. JonBenét was a very special little girl. She had bright blonde hair. She had big, happy eyes and a big, bright smile. She looked exactly like a little doll. Like her mother, JonBenét was a beauty queen too. She did not play normal games. She entered many beauty competitions for little girls. She won many big crowns for her head. She won many medals. For the competitions, her mother put makeup on JonBenét's face. She colored her blonde hair. JonBenét wore shiny, expensive dresses. She wore high shoes. He danced and sang on the big stage. People loved to look at her. She was very famous in her city. From the outside, they were the perfect family. They had a big house in the snow. They had a lot of money in the bank. They had beautiful children. Everyone looked at the Ramsey family. Everyone thought, they are so happy. They have everything. But this was only the outside. Sometimes perfect pictures are not real. Sometimes beautiful houses have very dark secrets inside. Chapter 2. The Last Happy Day. It was the month of December. The year was 1996. It was December 25th. It was Christmas Day. Christmas is a very happy day for families in the United States. It is a day for presents. It is a day for family and friends. The Ramsey family woke up early in the morning. Outside, the weather was freezing cold. There was ice on the windows, but inside the big house, it was very warm and safe. The children, Burke and JonBenét, were very excited. They ran to the living room. There was a very big green Christmas tree in the living room. The tree had beautiful lights. Under the tree, there were many big, colorful presents. The children opened their presents. They tore the paper. JonBenét got a big, beautiful doll. Burke got new toys and games. They laughed and played with their new toys on the floor. The mother, Patsy, and the father, John, watched them. They drank warm coffee. They smiled. It was a very good morning. It was a perfect morning. In the evening, the family put on their winter clothes. They put on their thick coats, hats, and warm gloves. They walked out of their big house. They got into their large car. They went to a Christmas dinner party. The party was at their friend's house. At the party, there were many people. There was a lot of delicious food. There was sweet cake. John and Patsy talked with their friends. They laughed and drank wine. JonBenét played with the other children. She ran around the house. She was very happy. Everything was completely normal. It was a very happy Christmas night for everyone. Then the party finished. It was time to go home. It was very late at night. The time was around 9:30 p.m. The weather was terribly cold. The dark sky was full of falling snow. The family got into their car again. The car was warm. JonBenét was very, very tired. She played a lot at the party. She closed her eyes. She fell asleep in the back seat of the warm car. They arrived at their big house in Boulder. The house was dark. JonBenét was still sleeping. Her father, John, opened the car door. He gently took his little girl. He carried her in his strong arms. He walked into the big house. He carried her upstairs. He walked to her bedroom. He put her in her warm bed. He did not change her clothes. He covered her with a soft, white blanket. JonBenét did not open her eyes. She did not wake up.
The mother, Patsy, walked around the big house. She checked the doors. She checked the children. She looked at Burke. Burke was sleeping in his room. She looked at JonBenét. JonBenét was sleeping in her room. Everything was quiet. Everything was peaceful. Then the mother and father went to their bedroom. They went to sleep too. The big house was completely dark. It was completely silent. Nobody heard a sound. The family slept. But outside in the cold snow, the night was very dark. And inside the house, someone was waiting. A terrible thing was going to happen. The happy day was over. The long nightmare was beginning. Chapter 3. The long, strange paper. The dark night finished. The sun came up. It was the morning of December 26th. The time was 5:30 in the morning. The mother, Patsy, woke up. She got out of her warm bed. She put on her clothes. She walked out of her bedroom. The big house was very quiet. Everyone was sleeping. She walked to the back stairs of the house. She wanted to go down to the big kitchen. She wanted to make hot coffee. She started to walk down the wooden stairs. Suddenly, she stopped. She looked down at the stairs. There was something on the floor. It was white paper. It was not one short piece of paper. It was a very long letter. It had 3 long pages of writing. Patsy picked up the paper. She looked at the words. She started to read the letter. Her hands started to shake. She was very, very scared. Her heart beat very fast. The letter was from bad people. The letter said terrible things. It said, "Listen to us. We have your daughter. We have JonBenét. She is safe, but you must listen to us." The long letter asked for money. The bad people wanted money for the little girl. They wanted exactly $118,000. This was a very strange number. Usually, bad people ask for $100,000 or $500,000. Why did they want $118,000? It was a big mystery. Interestingly, the father, John Ramsey, got a bonus from his work that year. The bonus was exactly $118,000. Did the bad people know this? The letter also said a very scary thing. It said, "Do not call the police. Do not talk to your friends. If you call the police, your daughter will die." Patsy did not listen to the scary letter. She was terrified. She dropped the paper. She ran very fast up the stairs. She ran to JonBenét's bedroom. She opened the door. She looked at the white bed. The bed was completely empty. Her beautiful little girl was not there. Patsy ran to the telephone in her bedroom. She woke up her husband, John. Then she called the police immediately. She dialed 911. She cried on the phone. She could not breathe. She screamed, "Help us! We need police! Someone took my daughter! Please come quickly!" The quiet morning was over. The perfect family was broken. Now, the police were coming to the big house in the snow. Chapter 4. The House Full of People. The police cars came to the big house in the snow. They drove very fast. The police officers walked inside the house. Usually, when there is a crime, the police do a very important thing. They close the house. They lock the doors. Nobody can come in. Nobody can go out. Nobody can touch anything inside. This is the rule. But on that cold morning, the police in Boulder made a very big mistake. A terrible mistake. They did not close the big house. They left the doors open. The mother and father, Patsy and John, were terrified. They wanted help. They called their friends on the telephone. They cried, "Please come to our house. Our beautiful daughter is missing. We need you." Many friends came to the big house. The house was full of people. The police officers were there. The friends were there. The family was there. The friends walked everywhere in the house. They walked in the big living room. They walked in the kitchen. They touched the tables. They touched the doors. They walked on the floors. One friend even cleaned the kitchen. She washed the tables. This was a catastrophic mistake. The police lost many important clues. They lost fingerprints. They lost footprints. The friends destroyed the clues because they touched everything. The house was a mess. The hours passed very slowly. The morning finished. The afternoon started. The house was full of people, but it was very quiet. Everyone waited. They sat near the telephone in the living room. They waited for the bad people to call. They waited to give the $118,000. They waited for instructions. But the telephone did not ring. The telephone was completely silent. The time was 1 p.m., 1 o'clock in the afternoon. A police officer talked to the father, John Ramsey. The police officer looked at John. The officer said, "John, we are waiting, but please, look around the house again. Look in every room. Look from top to bottom. Maybe you will find something. Maybe you will find a clue."
John stood up. He was a very sad and tired father. He walked around the big house. He looked in the rooms. He looked in the closets. Then he walked to a door. It was the door to the basement. He opened the door. He started to walk down the wooden stairs. He went down to the basement. The basement was under the house. It was very dark. It was very cold. And John was completely alone. Chapter 5. The end of the story. John Ramsey walked down the stairs. He was in the basement. The basement was very dark. It was very cold. There were many small rooms in the basement. John walked to a small door. He opened the door. It was a small storage room. There were no windows in this room. It was completely black. He turned on the light. He looked inside. He saw something on the cold floor. It was a white blanket. He walked to the blanket.
He pulled the blanket. He found her. He found his beautiful little daughter, JonBenét. But she was not sleeping. She was not playing. It was too late. She was dead. Someone killed the little girl in her own house. The father started to cry. He picked up his little girl. He held her in his strong arms. He walked out of the dark room. He carried her up the stairs to the living room. The police saw them. The mother, Patsy, saw them. Everyone screamed. Everyone cried. They were shocked. The perfect family was destroyed. It was a terrible, terrible day. After that sad day, the police started a very long investigation. They asked thousands of questions. Everyone asked the same question. Who killed JonBenét? Some people looked at the mother and father. They thought, the family did it. Why? Because the police found a very big clue in the big house. Do you remember the long paper? The ransom letter? The police found the mother's notepad in the house. The scary letter was written on the mother's paper. It was written with the mother's pen. Did the mother write it? Did someone in the perfect family kill the little girl? Other people said, no, the family didn't do it. A bad stranger did it. The police looked in the basement again. They found a broken window. The window was open. Maybe a bad man walked in the cold snow. Maybe he climbed through the broken window in the dark night. He took the little girl. He wrote the letter with the mother's pen. Then he killed her and ran away. Many, many years passed. The little boy, Burke, grew up. The mother, Patsy, died. The police tested DNA. They talked to many people. They looked at many suspects, but they never found the killer. Nobody went to police station. Nobody went to jail. The bad person disappeared in the cold snow. Today, it is still a very big mystery. People all over the world read books about it. People watch big documentaries about the little beauty queen. What really happened in that big house in Boulder on Christmas night? Was it the family? Was it a stranger? We may never know.